What if everything you've been chasing is actually waiting for you to become the person who deserves it? Most people spend their lives running after success, money, and happiness, but they never stop to ask one question: why does it keep slipping away? The truth is simple, but hard to accept. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy practiced by some of the greatest minds in history, teaches something powerful. If you master your mind, you master your life. In this video, you'll discover 10 Stoic rules that can completely transform your mindset, your discipline, and your results. These are not quick hacks. These are timeless principles that, if applied daily, will put you far ahead of 99% of people. Watch until the end, because the last rule is what separates ordinary people from those who become truly unstoppable. Rule 1. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. Most people wake up already losing the battle in their minds. Before the day even begins, they are thinking about things they cannot control. What someone said about them, what might go wrong, what they should have done differently yesterday. This constant mental noise drains their energy, weakens their focus, and keeps them stuck in a cycle of stress and frustration. Stoicism introduces a simple but life-changing principle. There are only two things in this world: what is within your control and what is not. What is within your control? Your thoughts, your actions, your effort, your discipline, your attitude. What is not within your control? Other people's opinions, the past, the future, external events. The problem is, most people reverse this. They obsess over what they cannot control and neglect what they can. And that is why they feel powerless. Imagine this. Two people face the same situation: failure, rejection, or loss. One complains, blames others, and gives up. The other reflects, learns, and adapts. Same situation, completely different outcomes. Why? Because one focused on what they could not control, and the other focused on what they could. This is where your power lies. When you stop wasting energy on things outside your control, you free up mental space. That space becomes clarity, and clarity allows you to act with precision. You stop reacting emotionally to everything. You stop overthinking every outcome. You stop seeking validation from people who don't matter. Instead, you begin to ask better questions. What can I do right now to improve? How can I respond in a better way? What action will move me forward? This shift is subtle but powerful, because the moment you take full responsibility for what is within your control, your life starts to change. You become calmer, more focused, more disciplined. And here's the truth most people don't realize. The more you control your inner world, the less the outer world can disturb you. Someone insults you, you stay calm. Something goes wrong, you adapt. Plans fail, you adjust and keep moving. That's power. But this doesn't happen overnight. It requires awareness. It requires practice. Start small. The next time something frustrates you, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, act on it immediately. Over time, this habit becomes your default mindset. And once it does, you will notice something incredible. Your stress decreases, your focus sharpens, your results improve. Because now, instead of being controlled by life, you are in control of yourself. And in Stoicism, that is the highest form of success. Rule 2. Discipline creates freedom. Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, pressure, or punishment. They think discipline means waking up early, denying pleasure, and forcing yourself to do things you don't enjoy. But Stoicism teaches something completely different. Discipline is not a prison. Discipline is freedom. Look at the average person's life. They wake up when they feel like it. They scroll endlessly. They procrastinate. They avoid hard tasks. They follow their emotions wherever they lead. At first, it feels comfortable, but over time, that comfort turns into chaos. Missed opportunities, weak habits, lack of progress, regret. Because when you don't control your actions, your impulses control you. And impulses don't build success. Stoicism teaches that true power comes from self-mastery, the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Think about this. If you only act when you feel motivated, you will rarely move forward. Motivation is inconsistent. It comes and goes. But discipline stays. Discipline means showing up even when you're tired. It means working when distractions are calling. It means staying focused when everything in you wants to quit. And this is where something incredible happens. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build trust in yourself. You prove that you are reliable, that you are in control. And that builds confidence. Not fake confidence, but real, unshakable confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from talking, it comes from doing. Now here's the paradox. The more disciplined you become, the more freedom you gain. When you control your habits, you control your time. When you control your time, you control your life. You're no longer stuck in cycles of procrastination. You're no longer dependent on motivation. You move with purpose. You wake up with direction. You act with intention. And slowly, your life starts to align with your goals. But discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You will have days where you don't feel like it, days where you slip, days where you lose focus. That's normal. What matters is that you return, again and again. Because discipline is not built in one moment. It's built over time, through repetition. Start small. Wake up a little earlier. Finish one important task before distractions. Stay consistent with one habit. Don't try to change everything overnight. Build slowly. Build intentionally. Because small disciplines, repeated daily, create massive results. And here's the truth most people ignore. Your future is hidden in your daily habits. If your habits are weak, your future will be weak. But if your habits are strong, your future becomes unstoppable. Stoicism reminds us that you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. So build systems that serve you. Build habits that strengthen you. Because once you master discipline, you don't need luck. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need anyone's approval. You become the kind of person who gets results, no matter what. And that is true freedom. Rule 3. Detach from outcomes. Extended version. One of the biggest reasons people feel stressed, anxious, and stuck is not because they're not working hard enough, but because they are too attached to results. They want success now. They expect things to go exactly as planned. They measure their worth based on outcomes they can't fully control. And when things don't go their way, they feel frustrated, discouraged, and ready to quit. Stoicism teaches a completely different mindset, one that instantly removes pressure and unlocks peak performance. Focus on the effort. Detach from the outcome. This doesn't mean you don't care about success. It means you stop letting success control your emotions. Because here's the truth. You can do everything right and still not get the result you expected. You can work hard, stay consistent, and give your best, and things may still take time. If your happiness depends only on the outcome, you will always feel unstable. But when your focus is on the process, you gain something powerful: control. You can control your effort. You can control your preparation. You can control your consistency. And that's where real confidence comes from. Think about an athlete preparing for a competition. If they are obsessed with winning, they become tense. They overthink. They fear failure. But when they focus on their training, their discipline, and their execution, they perform better. The same applies to your life. When you detach from outcomes, you remove fear. And when fear disappears, your performance improves. You take action without hesitation. You make decisions without overthinking. You stay consistent without emotional ups and downs. This is what gives you an edge over most people. Because while others are paralyzed by the pressure of results, you are focused on the work. And here's the paradox. The less you chase the outcome, the more likely you are to achieve it. Why? Because you are no longer desperate. You are calm, focused, consistent. And success is naturally attracted to that kind of energy. But detachment doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you give your best effort and accept whatever comes next. Win or lose, you grow. Success or failure, you learn. Progress or delay, you continue. That mindset makes you resilient, because now nothing can break you. If things go your way, you stay grounded. If things don't, you stay focused. You don't quit. You don't panic. You don't lose direction. You simply adjust and keep moving. This is what separates those who succeed long-term from those who give up too early. Because most people are emotional. They react to every outcome. But you become steady. And in a world full of emotional reactions, the calm, consistent person always wins. Start practicing this today. Set goals, but don't obsess over them. Take action, but don't demand instant results. Work hard, but stay detached. Over time, you will notice something powerful. Your stress will decrease. Your focus will improve. Your consistency will increase. And slowly, the results you once chased will start coming to you. because you are no longer driven by fear or pressure. You are driven by purpose. And that is the mindset of someone who cannot be stopped. Rule 4. Embrace discomfort. Extended version. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations. They avoid hard work. They avoid anything that feels challenging, unfamiliar, or painful. And at first, this feels safe. But over time, that comfort becomes a trap. Because everything you want, growth, success, confidence, wealth, lives on the other side of discomfort. Stoicism teaches a powerful truth. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Every time you step into something difficult, you are expanding your limits. Think about it. The first time you try something hard, waking up early, working out, speaking up, staying disciplined, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind resists it. It tells you to stop, to go back, to choose the easy path. But if you push through that resistance, something begins to change. What once felt hard starts to feel normal. And what once felt impossible becomes part of who you are. This is how transformation happens. Not through comfort, but through controlled, intentional discomfort. Stoics practiced this deliberately. They would expose themselves to hardship on purpose, sleeping on the floor, eating simple food, training their bodies and minds to handle less. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to build resilience. Because when you voluntarily face discomfort, you become stronger than it. And when real challenges come, and they always do, you are ready. You don't panic. You don't break. You don't run away. You stand firm. This is what separates strong individuals from weak ones. The weak avoid discomfort. The strong seek it. Now, this doesn't mean you should suffer endlessly or push yourself to burnout. It means you should train yourself to handle discomfort daily, in small, controlled ways. Start with simple actions. Take cold showers. Wake up earlier than necessary. Do the task you've been avoiding first. Push yourself physically beyond your comfort zone. Have the conversation you've been afraid to have. These small acts may seem insignificant, but they are building something powerful inside you. Mental toughness. And mental toughness is what allows you to keep going when others stop. Here's the truth. Life will test you. There will be moments of pressure, failure, rejection, and uncertainty. If you are not used to discomfort, these moments will break you. But if you have trained yourself to handle discomfort, they will shape you. You will see challenges differently. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you will ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift changes everything. Because now, every obstacle becomes an opportunity. Every struggle becomes a lesson. And every moment of discomfort becomes a step forward. There's also another hidden benefit. When you embrace discomfort regularly, your confidence increases. Not because things become easy, but because you realize you can handle hard things. And once you know that, fear loses its power over you. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You take action even when it's uncomfortable. And that's where most people fall behind. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the right moment. They wait for comfort. But that moment never comes, Because growth doesn't wait for comfort. It demands courage. So, if you want to rise above the average, you must train yourself to do what others avoid. Choose the harder path. Lean into resistance. Step into discomfort. Not once, but consistently. Because over time, discomfort stops feeling like pain and starts feeling like progress. And when that happens, you become dangerous in the best way possible. Unstoppable, unshaken, unbreakable. Rule 5. Master your emotions. Your emotions are powerful. They can push you forward or completely destroy your progress. Most people don't realize this, but their life is not controlled by logic. It's controlled by emotion. They act when they feel motivated. They quit when they feel tired. They react when they feel angry. They hesitate when they feel fear. And because emotions are unstable, their lives become unstable too. Stoicism teaches something radically different. You are not your emotions. You are the one who observes and controls them. This single idea can change everything. Because the moment you stop blindly reacting to emotions, you gain power. Think about a moment when you were angry. Maybe someone disrespected you. Maybe something didn't go your way. In that moment, your instinct was to react, to argue, to lash out, to prove a point. But what usually happens after that? Regret. Because emotional reactions are often impulsive, and impulsive actions lead to consequences. Now imagine a different response. Instead of reacting instantly, you pause. You take a breath. You observe the emotion. You ask yourself, is this reaction going to help me or hurt me? That pause, that moment of awareness, is where control begins. And that control is what separates strong individuals from weak ones. Stoics understood that you cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And your response determines your outcome. When you master your emotions, you gain a massive advantage in life. While others panic under pressure, you stay calm. While others react impulsively, you think clearly. While others lose control, you stay grounded. And in high-pressure situations, whether in business, relationships, or personal challenges, this ability is priceless. Because calmness is power. Now, mastering your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It doesn't mean pretending you don't feel anything. It means understanding them without being controlled by them. You acknowledge anger, but you don't let it drive your actions. You feel fear, but you don't let it stop you. You experience stress, but you don't let it overwhelm you. You remain in control. And this takes practice. Start by becoming more aware of your emotional triggers. What makes you angry? What makes you anxious? What causes you to lose focus? Once you identify these triggers, you can begin to manage them. The next time you feel a strong emotion rising, don't react immediately. Pause. Even a few seconds of awareness can prevent a mistake that could cost you days, weeks, or even years. Over time, this practice becomes a habit, and as it does, you will notice something powerful. Your mind becomes quieter. Your decisions become clearer. Your actions become more intentional. You stop being controlled by temporary feelings and start being guided by long-term purpose. And here's something most people don't realize. People who master their emotions naturally gain respect. Because emotional control signals strength, it shows that you are not easily shaken, that you are stable, that you are reliable. And in a world where most people are reactive and unpredictable, that kind of presence stands out. But the greatest benefit is internal. When you master your emotions, you experience peace. Not because life becomes easy, but because you become stronger. Challenges will still come. People will still test you. Situations will still be unpredictable. But you remain steady. And that steadiness is what makes you truly powerful. So start today. Don't try to control everything. Just control your response. Pause before reacting. Think before speaking. Choose your actions wisely. Because in the end, it's not your emotions that define your life. It's how you handle them. And once you master that, nothing can control you anymore. Rule 6. Focus on daily progress. Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they lack consistency. They set big goals. They feel motivated at the start. They take action for a few days, maybe a few weeks. And then they stop. Not because they don't care, but because they expect results too quickly. When progress feels slow, they lose motivation. When results don't show up immediately, they start doubting themselves. This is where Stoicism offers a powerful shift in perspective. Success is not about massive, sudden change. It is about small, consistent progress every single day. Think of your life like a building. Most people try to build everything in one day. They rush, they overwhelm themselves, and eventually, they burn out. But Stoicism teaches patience. Lay one brick at a time, one focused action, one improved habit, one step forward. It may not feel like much in the moment, but over time, those small actions compound into something extraordinary. This is the principle most people underestimate. They underestimate the power of doing a little, consistently. Reading 10 pages a day may not seem like much, until you realize that's over 3,000 pages a year. Improving your skills for just 1 hour a day may feel small, until you look back and see how far ahead you've become. Daily progress may feel slow, but it is unstoppable. And that's the key. Consistency beats intensity. Because intensity comes and goes. It depends on motivation, mood, and energy. But consistency? Consistency builds momentum. And momentum is what carries you forward, even on days when you don't feel like it. There will be days when you feel tired, days when you lack motivation, days when progress feels invisible. Those are the days that matter the most. Because anyone can work hard when they feel inspired, but only a few can stay consistent when they don't. And those few are the ones who succeed. Stoicism teaches you to detach from instant gratification. You don't need to see results today. You don't need validation tomorrow. You trust the process. You understand that every small effort is building something beneath the surface, even when you can't see it yet. This mindset removes pressure. Instead of asking, "Why am I not successful yet?" you start asking, "Did I improve today?" That question changes everything. Because now, your focus is not on the destination, it's on the journey. And when you focus on the journey, you naturally arrive at the destination. But here's something important. Daily progress doesn't mean perfection. You will have off days. You will make mistakes. You will lose focus sometimes. That's part of the process. What matters is that you don't stop. Even if progress is slow, keep going. Even if you feel stuck, keep going. Even if you doubt yourself, keep going. Because progress, no matter how small, is still progress. And over time, those small steps create a gap between you and everyone else. While others quit, you continue. While others hesitate, you act. While others wait, you build. And slowly, your life begins to change. Your skills improve. Your confidence grows. Your results start to show. Not overnight, but inevitably. That's the power of daily progress. It doesn't rely on luck. It doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It only requires one thing: commitment. So start today. Don't focus on doing everything. Focus on doing something. One task, one improvement, one step forward. And then repeat it tomorrow. Because if you commit to getting just a little better every day, there is no limit to how far you can go. Rule 7. Stop seeking validation. Extended version. One of the biggest invisible chains holding people back is the need for approval. Most people don't even realize how much it controls their lives. They choose careers based on what others will respect. They stay silent because they fear judgment. They avoid risks because they don't want to look foolish. They change who they are just to fit in. And slowly, they lose themselves. Stoicism teaches something powerful and freeing. Your value does not come from other people's opinions. Because the truth is, no matter what you do, people will judge you. If you succeed, they may envy you. If you fail, they may criticize you. If you stay the same, they may overlook you. So why base your life on opinions that constantly change? Seeking validation is dangerous because it puts your happiness in someone else's hands. If they approve of you, you feel good. If they don't, you feel insecure. That's not power, that's dependence. Stoicism teaches independence of mind. You act based on your values, not on external approval. And the moment you stop needing validation, something incredible happens. You become free. Free to speak your mind. Free to take risks. Free to pursue what truly matters to you. You stop overthinking every move. You stop trying to impress people who don't matter. You stop shrinking yourself just to be accepted. Instead, you start living with intention. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore feedback or become arrogant. It means you choose whose opinion matters and whose doesn't. Because not all opinions are equal. You don't take advice from someone who hasn't achieved what you want. You don't value criticism from someone who doesn't understand your path. You don't let random voices influence your direction. You become selective. And that selectiveness protects your focus. Think about how much energy people waste trying to look good instead of becoming good. They post for validation. They speak for approval. They act for attention. But attention is temporary. Real growth happens in silence. When you stop performing for others, you start improving for yourself. And that's when your life begins to change. Because now, your actions are driven by purpose, not by perception. You work harder, not to impress, but to improve. You stay consistent, not for praise, but for progress. You move forward, not for validation, but for fulfillment. And here's the powerful part. When you stop chasing validation, people naturally start respecting you more. Why? Because confidence is attractive. And real confidence comes from self-approval, not external approval. When people see that you are not easily influenced, not desperate for attention, and not afraid to stand alone, they notice. But by then, something has changed within you. You no longer need their validation. And that is true power. Because now, you are grounded in who you are. You know your values. You trust your decisions. You stand firm in your path. Even when others doubt you, even when others question you, even when others don't understand you, you keep going. Because you are no longer living for them. You are living for yourself. So start today. Pay attention to where you seek validation. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it's right, or because I want approval? That question alone can shift your entire mindset. Choose authenticity over approval. Choose growth over attention. Choose purpose over perception. Because the moment you stop needing validation is the moment you become truly unstoppable. Rule 8. Visualize the worst. At first, this idea sounds negative. Why would you think about the worst-case scenario? Why would you imagine failure, loss, or hardship? Most people spend their time doing the opposite. They try to stay positive at all costs. They avoid thinking about anything uncomfortable. But Stoicism takes a different path, one that builds real strength, not fragile optimism. It teaches a practice known as negative visualization, not to make you fearful, but to make you fearless. Because fear often comes from the unknown. You fear losing your job, but you've never thought through what would actually happen. You fear failure, but you've never fully faced what failure would look like. You fear rejection, but you've never asked yourself if you could handle it. So your mind fills in the gaps with uncertainty, and uncertainty creates anxiety. Stoicism removes that uncertainty. It asks you to sit down and think, what is the worst that could happen? Not vaguely, but clearly. If you fail, what happens next? If things don't go your way, how would you respond? If you lose something important, how would you rebuild? When you do this honestly, something powerful happens. You realize that the worst-case scenario is not the end. It's uncomfortable, it's difficult, but it's survivable. And once you understand that, fear begins to lose its grip on you. Because now, you are no longer afraid of the unknown. You've already faced it in your mind. And that gives you a strange kind of confidence. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop avoiding action. Because deep down, you know, even if this goes wrong, I'll be okay. That belief is powerful. It frees you. Now, instead of being controlled by fear, you start taking action. You take the risk. You start the project. You speak up. You move forward. And that's where most people stay stuck. They are waiting for fear to disappear. But fear doesn't disappear by waiting. It disappears through understanding and exposure. Stoics didn't just think about hardship. They prepared for it. They would imagine losing comfort, losing status, losing possessions, so that they would never become too attached to them. Because attachment creates fear. The more you cling to something, the more afraid you are of losing it. But when you mentally prepare for loss, you reduce that attachment. You become more grounded. You appreciate what you have, but you are not controlled by the fear of losing it. This creates emotional stability. You enjoy success, but you are not dependent on it. You value relationships, but you are not destroyed by setbacks. You pursue goals, but you are not paralyzed by the possibility of failure. You become balanced, and that balance gives you strength. There's also another hidden benefit to this practice. It builds resilience. Because when challenges actually happen, and they will, you are not shocked. You don't panic. You don't feel overwhelmed. You don't collapse under pressure. Instead, you respond with calm and clarity. Because, in a way, you've already been there. You've already thought it through. You've already prepared your mind. And that preparation gives you an advantage most people don't have. While others are reacting emotionally, you are acting strategically. But here's the key. This practice must be used correctly. You don't stay in negative thoughts all day. You don't become pessimistic. You use negative visualization as a tool. A short, focused moment where you prepare your mind, and then return to action. Think of it like training. You expose your mind to difficulty, so that real difficulty feels easier. So start small. Think about something you fear. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could realistically happen? Then go deeper. If that happens, what would I do next? Create a plan. Build a response. And once you do that, let it go. Because now you are prepared. And when you are prepared, fear no longer controls you. You move forward with confidence. Not because everything will go perfectly, but because you know you can handle whatever comes. And that is what makes you truly powerful. Rule 9. Value time above all. Time is the most valuable asset you have, not money, not status, not connections. Time. Because everything else can be regained. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can come back. Even failures can be corrected. But time? Once it's gone forever. And yet, most people treat time like it's unlimited. They waste hours scrolling. They delay important decisions. They procrastinate on things that could change their lives. They tell themselves, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next month. And before they know it, years have passed. This is the silent danger. Not failure, but delay. Stoicism teaches a powerful awareness. You are closer to the end of your life than you think. Not to create fear, but to create urgency. Because when you truly understand the value of time, your priorities change. You stop wasting it on meaningless distractions. You stop engaging in things that don't serve your growth. You stop giving your attention to people and situations that drain you. Instead, you become intentional. Every hour matters. Every decision matters. Every action matters. You begin to ask yourself, is this worth my time? Is this helping me grow? Is this moving me forward? And those questions shape your life. Because your life is simply the result of how you spend your time daily. If you spend your time learning, you grow. If you spend your time building, you progress. If you spend your time distracted, you stay stuck. It's that simple. But here's where most people struggle. They don't feel the urgency until it's too late. They assume they have more time. They believe they can always start later. But later is not guaranteed. Stoicism reminds us to live with awareness of time, not fear, but respect. Because when you respect time, you use it wisely. You don't rush, but you don't delay. You don't panic, but you don't waste. You move with purpose. There's also another truth most people ignore. Being busy is not the same as being productive. You can spend the entire day doing things and still make no real progress. That's why valuing time is not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Focus on what truly matters, the actions that bring real results, the habits that build your future, the work that moves you closer to your goals. Cut out the rest. Because every moment you spend on something unimportant is a moment taken away from something that matters. And over time, those moments add up. They either build your future or quietly destroy it. Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't just manage time, they protected it. They guarded their attention. They chose their actions carefully. They lived with intention. And that's what you must do. Start by becoming aware of where your time goes. Track your day. Be honest. How much time are you spending on things that actually matter? And how much is being wasted? Once you see the truth, you can make changes. Set priorities. Eliminate distractions. Create structure in your day. Even small improvements in how you use your time can create massive results over months and years. And here's the powerful part. When you start valuing time, you start valuing your life. Because time is life. Every second you spend is a piece of your life being used. So the question is, are you using it wisely, or are you letting it slip away? The choice is yours. But understand this, people who respect time get ahead. People who waste time stay behind. There's no exception. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for someday. Start now. Use what you have. Do what you can. Take action today. Because one day, you will look back and realize something powerful. The life you built was created by how you chose to spend your time. And if you choose wisely, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Rule 10. Become self-sufficient. Extended version. At the highest level of Stoicism lies one ultimate goal: self-sufficiency. Not just financial independence, but mental and emotional independence. Because most people are not truly free. They depend on others for validation. They depend on circumstances for happiness. They depend on outcomes to feel worthy. And because of that, their peace is fragile. If people praise them, they feel good. If people criticize them, they feel low. If things go well, they are happy. If things go wrong, they fall apart. This is not strength. This is dependence. Stoicism teaches something far more powerful. Your stability must come from within. Because the outside world is unpredictable. People will change. Situations will shift. Life will test you in ways you cannot control. If your happiness depends on these things, you will always feel unstable. But when you become self-sufficient, everything changes. You stop relying on external validation. You don't need constant approval to feel confident. You don't need attention to feel valuable. You don't need perfect conditions to take action. You create your own sense of worth, and that is powerful. Because now, your confidence is not based on opinions, it's based on identity. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know what you're capable of. And that clarity makes you unshakable. Self-sufficiency also means emotional independence. You don't let your emotions control your decisions. You don't let temporary setbacks destroy your mindset. You don't let external chaos disturb your inner peace. You remain steady, even when life is unpredictable, even when things don't go your way, even when others doubt you. You keep moving forward, because your strength comes from within, not from outside. Now, this doesn't mean you isolate yourself or reject help. It means you don't depend on it. You can work with others, but you are not defined by them. You can appreciate support, but you are not broken without it. You stand on your own. And that independence gives you a level of confidence most people never experience. Because when you know you can rely on yourself, fear disappears. You're no longer afraid of being alone. You're no longer afraid of losing people. You're no longer afraid of uncertainty. Because no matter what happens, you trust yourself to handle it. This is the mindset of someone who cannot be shaken. But self-sufficiency is not built overnight. It is built through discipline, through discomfort, through consistency. Every time you solve your own problems, you grow stronger. Every time you face challenges alone, you build resilience. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you become more independent. And over time, you transform. You go from needing guidance to becoming your own guide. You go from seeking approval to trusting your own judgment. You go from reacting to life to mastering it. And that is the ultimate goal. Because when you become self-sufficient, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just react, you create. You don't just exist, you lead. Final message. These 10 Stoic rules are not just ideas. They are a way of life. If you apply them daily, something powerful will begin to happen. Your mind will become stronger. Your focus will become sharper. Your discipline will become unbreakable. And slowly, everything you once chased, success, wealth, respect, peace, will start coming to you. Not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person who naturally attracts it. So don't just watch this. Apply it. Live it. Become it. And if you're ready to take control of your mind, your life, and your future, join the YouTube channel Unshaken Mind and become unshaken.